Very welcome. Good day to all of you attending our Operations Conclave 2021. We are expecting 40 to 50 companies to join us for this conclave, but oftentimes we've been beaten by the expectation, and I really hope this time again we have more companies joining us. It is extremely important to realize the value of operations. Being from a computer company, I must tell you that the first thing that came into my mind is how do we run our computers? We run our computers leveraging what is called the operating systems. And operating is the key word. So just, a reminder to all of us is the operations in the operating system actually not only manages, but optimizes the processes that computer runs and the memory it uses. And not only just the software part of it, but the software and hardware part of it. So even in such a complex system as a computer, whether it is, a laptop, a desktop, a server, or a phone, operating system plays such a critical role. And in our products, in our companies, operations is no different. So with that, I want to go to the next slide. What I want to show you is, what we have been in the operations world, not in the operating system. We were smarter with operating systems inside the computer, but in our corporations, we have been kind of reactive. We have been like an afterthought. In computer terminology, I can tell you that us as Intel learned it the hard way that things like, power needs to be thought up front, not as an outcome of the performance that we have built. Very similar to that, the world today is forcing us to think, how can operations be more an upfront thought rather than be reactive? Rather than, showing what has been, what results have already happened, rather than being a support function, it is now the need of the hour to make it instrumental as an upfront thought. How can we leverage operations to optimize? How can we run operations to manage whatever product process that we are building as a corporation? So not just the support system, not just an afterthought, not just as a function that you always look as something that has already occurred, but something that can occur. So without this thought in mind, I want to go to the next slide and tell you, what are some of the opportunities that I see? Very much like our computer system, again, our OS drives security. Our OS enables what is called secure enclave, where we can run very confidential information. Similarly, in our corporation, the operations need to be looking at what are the technologies that can enable us to drive better security, to drive better efficiency, to drive, better delays. And always, a computer being in Intel is very hard to come out of my system. I always think, how can efficiency, you have all the raw materials, how can we be more efficient leveraging them? How can we be better in terms of delay? We have shipments that come in. Any process of a corporation has an input, process, and output. Interesting thing is operations plays a role in input, process, and output. In terms of Intel, we often get our parts shipped that we need to validate, that we need to package, that we need to put in a platform. Now, the process of getting the parts, enabling them through the customs and getting them into our labs, what efficiency can we drive? Is there a security play that we can do? Is there an optimization that we can drive that, multiple shipments? Can we have a consortium of companies that we leverage? Can we have, a Tatkal like opportunity, with us that we We can enable certain parts in a faster mode. So many such operations, technology can be leveraged for efficiency, for improving delay, improving security, and enabling the businesses to do better. No longer is operation a afterthought. It has to be thought of upfront in whatever we do. In an entire process of input, process, output, operations has a front row seat in how do we make things better, no different than the operating system that I called out. And I will tell you that, looking at the expansion of what operations means, efficiency, improving of delay, better results. We have morphed in Intel. We've driven a lot of automations in the processes. No longer are we using Excel spreadsheets or emails or, verbal communications. How can we make things, better delay, more efficient by automation? Not only that, when we started doing automation, we realized that we have to upskill all our people to understand and leverage some of the offerings that we were making, whether it is HR, finance, all the way to our engineers. Of course, our engineers needed level 2, level 3 level classes, but operations team took upon itself how do we upskill our people with the trainings that are relevant to Intel, AI, security, cloud computing. How can we harness the workforce better? Because operations is one team which is agnostic of boundaries. In the corporation, very much like in the country, we have all these boundaries within states, and each state is, in India, is almost like a country having its own rules. Corporations are no different. Each BU, business unit, thinks of itself as having its own rules, its own laws. Of course, we try to standardize as much as we can, but operations comes as a horizontal team that can influence everyone. So whether it is in logistics, whether it is in shipments, whether it's an automation of how we are gathering information, or even making sure that the workforce is skilled to be able to leverage. Our operations team is also partnering with government in trying to get ease of operations in our businesses. Not only that, what excited me was our operations team drove some export import change of used equipments that could not only benefit the corporation but benefit the country. So operations is morphing with technology. Operations is expanding with scope, all for the purpose of how can we do things better, faster, and in a manner that we can create more value. So let me go to the next slide. The next slide talks about, some things that I've already hinted. How can we, being a horizontal organization, how can we harness the combined knowledge, combined finance benefits, combined marketing value, combined logistic benefits, you name it. When it comes to each state driving its own agenda versus driving the country's agenda, operations is driving the country agenda or the corporation agenda in our case. So how do we make things smarter? How can we leverage technologies like AI? And I know Manas from within my Intel India staff is looking at many such technologies, many such tools, many such automations to make things better, because now no longer are they an afterthought. Like I said before, no longer are they like power, which has to be thought of upfront at the time of architecture. They are an integral part of the business, focusing on the value for each business, but also a corporation as a whole. So I'm really excited about how our operations can morph with technology, and the pandemic has only taught us more and more. During the pandemic, all of us suffered. Intel India suffered, our family suffered, the world suffered, your company suffered, everybody suffered. Now, operations rolled up their sleeves and took an avatar that I have never seen before. The avatar that they took was almost like an employee's personalized service that they could reach. So very excited about the new role that operations has come up with. Again, value for the company, value for the people, value for the product and process. So I keep thinking as how can operations drive better product, better process, and help with people as well. So a lot of change is happening. I want to end, going to the last slide is, again, if operations, like operating system, cannot get everyone, like the computer, together, no one can. Operations is managing and optimizing our products, our processes, and helping with our people. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to learning from you, sharing with you, and taking the operations to the next level where, with the Industry 4.0, operations will play a crucial, critical role. Thank you very much. And thanks, Zinnov, for enabling us with this conclave and, working with us to make sure that this is successful for everyone. Thank you, everyone.